So the way that I would do it if I was in my 50s would be as follows. If I had an owner-occupier property that was debt-free and it was worth $1, $2, $3, whatever $1 million, I would look at how I could potentially sell down that property, downsize where I'm living or what I am living in, and free up a huge amount of capital that would come out of that. So hypothetically speaking, I live in a $2 million property now that I bought for $400,000 many years ago. It's got no debt on it, but do I really need to live in a $2 million house by myself or with my partner with no kids? Probably not. So I'd probably sell the $2 million house, downsize out of that maybe into something worth 800 grand or $1 million, pay cash for that, and then pocket $1 million. And then I would go and use that $1 million to invest for cash flow. That is the first thing that I would look at doing, is downsizing my current owner-occupier home to free up a big chunk of capital. Because the amount of people that I have spoken to or heard stories about that go into retirement, they own their own home, but they won't sell it because they're sentimentally attached to the property, or they love being in the garden, yet they're on the pension and they actually can't afford the rates on the property, and they live a terrible life just for this simple sentimental attachment of a house that's going to be sold when you die anyway. So that is step number one. If you have an owner-occupier home that you don't need to be living in, downsize and pull out that money. Now, the second thing that I would look at doing is I would look at maximizing my superannuation. Now, if you're in your 50s, you can access your superannuation when you are 60, so it is much closer and probably much more relevant than for someone like myself who is in my 20s. Now, getting advice around superannuation is obviously very important by a financial planner or an accountant, but it's the most tax-effective investment structure if it is used correctly. Now, there are many ways that you can get money into your superannuation. If you downsize out of your home, you can get extra money into your superannuation. But for me, that is what I would focus on, because when I move into retirement, the income that comes off my superannuation ends up being tax-free, which is a massive win. And then the third thing that I would focus on is working out how much capital I need to generate the income that I desire in retirement. And a good rule of thumb is for every $1 million of net assets or unencumbered assets that you have, you are going to be generating around $50,000 of income. So if I want to retire on $100,000 a year, I need to work out how I can get $2 million worth of net assets. Ideally, that would be inside of superannuation, so the majority of that income is tax-free. So yes, it is possible to grow your wealth and invest in your 50s, but naturally, because you're in your 50s, you have a shorter time frame, you have to do more to make it work, and you have to minimize as much risk as you possibly can, because you unfortunately don't have the time if something goes wrong.